you, we the laziest group of black folks that ever existed. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. We are the laziest, most self-hating group of black people that ever existed. And you're the ones who want reparations? So we're supposed to trust you to use this money for the reconstruction of black America when all you care about is yourself? So the 80s is when the black middle class abandoned the black inner city forever and they never came back. And the elders who stayed behind, they did not educate the children to understand what was being done to us. So that means that the crack in the AIDS era was the era of black community social disintegration. Because racism for white people is a function of what? White genetic survival. Yeah. And what is more important to white people than money and power? Survival.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between Pan-African and pro-black?
Well, if you're Pan-Africanist, you automatically pro-black.
Okay.
But you can be pro-black
and not
necessarily feel that all African people in the world constitute one family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Pan-Africanism speaks to the black diaspora.
Pan-Africanists have a zoomed out view of the global chessboard. And we're saying, black America, I need you to take a step back. You're in too close. Zoom out. Black Europe, zoom out. Black Caribbean, zoom out. Canada, Australia, Brazil, I need you to zoom out and see that they controlling us globally all by the same structure.
Yeah, so we need to unite globally in order to get done what we need to get done. Yeah.
Listen, you go to a school where there's a bully, there's a gang in charge, and they run in every classroom in the damn school. You trying to fight them by yourself. Yeah. Can you win that?
No, you getting whooped. Soon as you
joint.
get on him, somebody come hit you from the side.
You got to have a team there. And that's where we're messing. Even with the reparations movement, we're gonna sabotage that.
Do you think that's a legitimate movement?
I was about to ask, do you think that happens? Like
is that real? Is that political talking points to get black people riled up and at the voter booth?
There is an organization, National Coalitions for Blacks for Reparations in America. I've heard of them, yes. Who I respect. They've been around for a long time. I think they have been drowned out in this conversation, although they have been the most consistent and have put in the most work for reparations. I think they've been drowned out by this recent wave of YouTubian social media opportunists who are trying to hijack the narrative in the conversation for personal, selfish, financial reasons. I'm bringing it up to say reparations is a legitimate movement. It is as old as slavery. The first reparationists were Pan-Africanists. It was born of the Pan-African movement. We've always had a fight for reparations since slavery. Now, this new age social media reparations conversation, I think, takes away from the seriousness and the integrity of the original reparations movement, because I think it's too much focus on, I want some money right now. I don't think the people carrying the conversation right now are concerned about the long-term health of black America. Yeah. When I go on social media, I keep saying, people say, I need some money. So they're not thinking about slavery. They're not thinking about reparations. They damn sure not thinking about black community reconstruction. They just want some money like a PPP loan.
Yeah, they
see reparations as a PPP loan. And you know what they're going to do with it? They're going to take that money right to white people.
Yeah, put it on FanDuel.
Same day.
Same day. Yeah. And get them a car and a Louis belt and some new weave.
Yeah, they're going to have Lambo trucks parked in front of grandma's house.
And this is why the new jack social media reparations flunkies, they take issue with me when I say that if I were in charge, reparations does not get distributed to this generation of blacks. Because when I look at 21st century black America, we're the first fifth of the 21st century is over. It's ours. Can somebody tell me what have we achieved in the first fifth of the 21st century?
Nothing. We still got a collective $0 wealth
Have we changed
base.
anything? Have we fought for anything?
No.
Have we built anything? Have we changed anything? So let me give you, we the laziest group of black folks that ever existed. I'm just gonna keep it a buck. We are the laziest, most self-hating group of black people that ever existed. And you're the ones who want reparations? So we're supposed to trust you to use this money for the reconstruction of black America when all you care about is yourself? We don't get the reparations, bruh. We could continue to articulate it, formulate it, put it on paper, but the distribution got to come later when there's a more responsible, more racially loyal and conscious group of black folks. If we got that money today, y'all know we would destroy it tomorrow.
Man,
do you have any doubt in your mind that we waste that money?
Reparations on Monday,
bro.
Money going on Wednesday.
Bro, why do you want reparations?
You making it to Wednesday?
Nah,
what you went to sleep?
Bro.
We out here balling, man.
I go to sleep Thursday.
It's a party at the mall. You missing it.
Sad. Nobody's looking. They not looking
That
at the
that goes to my question from earlier, like the togetherness that we had. That was a real thing. That's what my grandfather always speak about.
Exactly.
The togetherness. Yes. We cared about our community.
Yes.
True story. My grandfather, he just passed away. He was 99. And my grandfather would go out and try to clean up the block. He would still go out because that was the thing. He was like, yo, back in the day, everybody came out. But as the older people started dying off and the younger people started getting, it's like, he's 92 and the only one outside that willing to sweep up the front. The young people just like, yo, Mr. Wall, you be doing too much. He's like, doing too much. This is ours.
Live here.
Yeah.
We're like,
but
what?
I will clarify. In defense of the youth per se, when the crack and the AIDS weapons hit us in the 80s.
Definitely weapons.
So the 70s was economic destruction of the black community. They took all the factory jobs out the community, and they took all the industrial building trade skill programs out the high schools.
Yep.
So the 70s was the decade of making the black man financially useless to the black woman. 1980s was chemical warfare and biological warfare. Crack and AIDS. When crack and AIDS hit the black community, and it's no coincidence they hit us together. You know why? Because through the intravenous drug users, they was able to put the AIDS in those things and pass the AIDS on through the drug use. So crack and AIDS had to come together to intensify the Holocaust. When crack and AIDS hit the black community, that was the disintegration of black community unity and oneness. We never got it back yet. And that's when the black people who were socially mobile and upward, our black middle class, that's when they abandoned us. That's when the black middle class said, you know what? This is going to take too much sacrifice, too much commitment to try to save the black community. I'm not really committed to it anyway. I was raised by my parents to do what? Get a good job, get an education, and get the hell out.
My grandfather said, like, back in the day, you didn't have to worry about your next door neighbor breaking into your house. But after
Crack
the 80s, it changed everything.
Because after
you got
crack,
9 locks on your door for the people that live on your street.
After crack, it wouldn't be the same no more. Because people are breaking in your house. They're breaking in your car. You understand me?
Yeah.
Your daughter is giving a blowjob to the pastor. You feel me?
Yeah.
For some money for crack. It destroyed our trust. It destroyed our harmony. And even now, everything we're dealing with is the aftershock of the crack and AIDS crisis of the 80s. That was one bomb greater than anything else America did, greater than a homosexual war, greater than the multicultural war, greater than the economic devastation. Crack and AIDS in the 80s and all the problems that it caused put us where we are. If there's no crack and AIDS in the 80s, you don't get a teenage pregnancy epidemic like you have, because the fathers are still there. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at all the problems we got. And if you don't get teenage mothers in the 80s, you don't get these young brothers killing each other right now. They are the children and grandchildren of the teenage mothers who were born of crack and AIDS devastation.
I was about to say the crime bill comes from
then they hit us with mass incarceration and the crime bill right after that.
They never gave black America a chance to breathe. And this is why I'm so bothered by athletes and entertainers. I wish I could get all black celebrities in a room for 2 days and give them a crash course on black America since slavery, so they can speak more intelligently about social justice issues, because a lot of them are selling us out, albeit not always intentionally, because they don't know the political history. You follow me? And they're giving out opinions that reinforces white America's narrative of what they want the world to think about black people, because they don't know what happened and how it happened. And so I need the athletes and entertainers to either pass the mic and stop giving your opinion on issues in the black community, or learn about what happened so you can speak more intelligently about it, because many of them are screwing up our narrative.
Getting every black celebrity in a room for 2 days would be insane. They'd be bugging that like the mob in Appalachia. Like that would be insanity.
And unfortunately, you probably have to have security there.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to get along.
No.
You know what I mean? The jealousy, the competition, the hate. And that's one thing that we have to change as a people, in addition to the systems that we have to build and the systems we have to fight against. We have to change the climate of competition in the black community.
Unhealthy competition.
Unhealthy competition in the black community. And I would almost argue
Clap that up.
that most competition is unhealthy because our culture is based on collaboration and consensus.
Yeah.
Our culture, when the white man came to Africa and he tried to buy off the chiefs and buy off the queen mothers of the village, they said, you can't pay us. And the white man said, why? I'm going to pay you. They said everything we do here is done on consensus. Mm-hmm. So even if I try to go against it, it ain't gonna mean nothing because everything is done.
I'm just one man.
Yeah. So the white man said, damn, they don't move out until they all agree that it's time to move out.
Yeah.
So we can't even pluck them apart.
Right.
And that's how tight we were as a community. You know, in traditional Africa, the smallest unit of existence is not the individual, it's the family.
Yeah.
The last name phenomenon, that's ours. That's why everybody got a last name. Because in Africa, the last name was the only name that mattered. When you met people, you introduced yourself by your last name. Mm-hmm. First name was almost irrelevant.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Right, what's the family? It's about what's the family, but look at us now. We're strung out on this radical European individualism that not even a European practices. We are more selfish than he is. Which takes me to a Marcus Garvey quote, when Marcus Garvey said, if the black man and woman are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and die from the effects of it.
It's interesting that you said, I was watching this video the other day, this YouTuber, they went to like a third world country, somewhere like right off of Papua New Guinea, but it's people who are still like relatively like native to their land and don't exist with the outside world or whatever. But they came there in their boats and they were trying to like get food and stuff. And they was like, yo, we got money to, and they was like, we don't even know what money is. And they had to take them inland to meet like their tribal leaders. And once they approved it, then they like took them to dinner and the land and all that. It's just like, yeah, like what we gonna do with the $30? We don't care.
And why did they not need the money? The reason they didn't need the paper currency is because most pre-European societies, all basic necessities required for survival were guaranteed by the people. Yeah. So a place to live was guaranteed. Food, clothing, and shelter was guaranteed. Why do I need money to buy food when the land is only owned by God? Central to African and thereby most ancient societies, because we taught them all, the land is owned by God. Nobody can own land. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. Land is too sacred. Land is God. So if the food comes from the land, why do I have to pay for the food? If the house is made from the materials of the land, why do I have to pay for the house? Do you see that?
Yeah.
So when the white man came with his monetary system, we like, wait a minute. There were monetary systems, but you didn't need to buy necessities. You feel me?
Yeah.
You buy non-necessities. Necessities were guaranteed. That's why there was no old folks home. There was no jail. You follow me? There was no homeless shelter because nobody was homeless. Nobody threw their elders out. Nobody broke the law. Crime is a function of not having your basic needs met. And the issue with European capitalism is capitalism by design is based on the ownership of the means of production by the few. Land is a means of production. You see that? Mm-hmm. So when the few own everything and the many have to work for the few to make a few dollars to give it back to the few for food, clothing, and shelter, that's economic slavery. Let's take America. In the United States of America, the top 10% own more wealth than the 90. I'm talking black and white.
And it's growing. The disparity is growing.
Oh, it's growing. Let's go globally. Globally, the top 20% own more than the bottom 80.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Africa, the richest continent. Not a single one of those top 10 are in Africa, but they own the resources in Africa. Capitalism has to be destroyed. And this is why I do agree with my socialist brothers and sisters. But where I disagree with my socialist brothers and sisters, capitalism is not the parent of racism. This is where the nationalists and the socialists part ways. As a nationalist, we say racism invented capitalism. You can get rid of capitalism, but you'll still have racism. China is communist. They racist as hell. Yeah. Russia is communist. They racist as hell. So your economic model does not eliminate racism, because racism for white people is a function of what? White genetic survival. Yeah. And what is more important to white people than money and power? Survival. Yeah. And that's why those of us who are nationalists disagree with the socialists, because the socialists are not looking at the impact of racism. They're only looking at the impact of capitalism. You see that?
Absolutely.
And that's where we differ. And that's why they don't have a contradiction in dating and sleeping with white women. You know, you'll see brothers with the red, black, and green with a white girl, so you automatically know they're not a nationalist. Right. Because God, we don't do that. So you say, wait, this
right on.
He got the red, black, and green. On. You know what I mean? With Dr. Umar, he got the white girlfriend. What's going on? Because he's a socialist. To them, there's no contradiction to sleep with the white woman, because the enemy ain't white supremacy. The enemy is capitalism. They're wrong. The enemy is racism and her child, capitalism.
If we want the respect of our women and our children back, we're going to have to stand up and in some cases die for it. The white man has gotten arrogant with his disrespect of black women and children. He's gotten arrogant as hell because we don't stand up the way we used to stand up for our women.